In Dynasty Fantasy Football, there is no offseason. You take on the role of an NFL GM to bring your team to glory through prospect scouting, a rookie draft, countless trades, team building, the regular season, and finally, a playoff run. Redraft is great, but Dynasty is the best way to play fantasy football. Just like NFL GMs, you have to build a roster for multiple years, balance win now versus future assets, and you're forced with the decision to rebuild or contend every single season. In the Dynasty Trading League, 5 Dynasty creators and 7 diehard Dynasty fans are sweating it out with one ultimate goal: to build a Dynasty that produces championships year after year. While most Dynasty content feels out of touch and generic, the Dynasty Trading League brings your group chat to life. It's the same trades, wild decisions, and trash talk you've seen in your Dynasty League. All we did is document it. Welcome to the Dynasty Trading League. Episode 1, the Startup Draft.
I'm super excited to go over all the rules, settings, and prizes for this Dynasty League that we're going to be documenting right here on YouTube. So go and subscribe if you want to see every trade, draft pick, win, loss, and playoff victory. First off, this league is super flex. That means that you have a quarterback spot as well as an extra flex spot where another quarterback can be played. That makes the position super valuable, which is why most people go 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. Now, it's only a 12-team league, so most teams were able to get 2 young starting quarterbacks. A couple of the rules we have is 0.25 tight end premium. So basically, every reception, a tight end gets a bonus 0.25 points just to add a little bit of value to the position. Also, quarterback passing touchdowns are worth 4 points. Another big rule we have is that we're playing against the league median. Basically, a way to think about that is that there's an extra game each week where you play to score above the league average in points for that week. And if you do, you get an extra win. If you don't, you get an extra loss. And it kind of balances out things against the matchups. We also have a pretty simple playoff structure with 6 teams out of 12 making the playoffs, with the top 2 teams getting byes, and those playoffs start week 15. In the startup draft, we also drafted kickers as placeholders for rookie picks. So for example, if I were to take the second kicker off the board in startup drafts around round 5 or so, I would get the 102 and have the opportunity to take a player like Teteroy McMillan. This allows us to do the startup draft before the actual NFL draft and made a seamless transition into the rookie draft, which we're going to have right after. Now it's time for the big announcement. What prize are we going to have for the winner of this league? Well, it's going to be something involving you guys on YouTube. We're going to have a Hard Knock style winners documentary posted on our YouTube channel. The last place creator has to make a 5-minute documentary outlining the winning team's entire season. It's going to include stuff like trash talk, wins, losses, their best trades, basically anything you can think of that the last place creator has to create, basically just saying how great the winner is. Just showing you guys through the rookie draft now. As you can see, these are all the picks we've had assigned. You're going to notice a lot of them don't belong to the original column with the owner above it. That's because obviously we did those kicker placeholders. So for example, I drafted the 7th kicker. I have the 107 right here. And you can see we have these 4 rounds here. It's going to be a ton of rookies drafted. So a lot of changes to these teams you're going to want to pay attention to as we go through the rookie draft. Also, you can now see we're starting to get the teams of the rookies. Like right here, we got Cam Ward on the Titans. So really excited because this rookie draft is closer than ever. And we now have all the picks assigned, so everything is set up. It's going to go great. Really excited to see who I get at 7 personally, but no, it's going to be awesome. If you guys are excited to follow along with this super competitive, awesome Dynasty League, go ahead and subscribe below to get alerts for every time we post a video about it. Let me tell you, this offseason is going to be filled with a ton of trades.
Before we dive too deep into the video, I do want to note that this video was done before the NFL draft, and the startup was done before the draft. All these reactions were done before the draft. So that is a quick disclaimer. Enjoy the video. Let's break down my strategy, and you can see at first I traded up to get Josh Allen, and I'll highlight my team. At the 102, I think he is a clear tier 1, 101 startup pick, so that's why I went up to go and get him. But the one thing you have to realize about these picks is I have the 108, which is Younghoe Koo, and I also have a 2026 first outside of my own, and I also have a 2027 first outside of my own. So I'm missing a lot of picks in between some of the later rounds. I'm missing a 7th round pick, I'm missing a 3rd round pick, but I had 2 4th round picks, and I have those extra late 1st round picks as well. So that's something to keep in mind, and my kind of strategy was just to go for value right off the bat. I wanted to collect as many rookie picks in the future as possible without going full latte mode and drafting 20 of them, but still keeping a young core so I can pretty much be flexible. I can cash in on those assets if I want to contend. But I think right now my strategy is probably going to be to do more of a 1-year punt. I really like the cornerstones on my team. I like London. I like Rome Odunze. I like Josh Downs even a bit. but I feel like we're just not deep enough at all to make a playoff push this year, even if I cash in on some of my assets. So I kind of want to just keep getting value, keep having young players to build around, and then make a run in 2026. So that's kind of my goal. I think we're probably going to punt 2025, the full season, get some more rookies, get some more value on the team, and then cash out with the 2026 picks I have, 2027 picks I have as well, and move some of those for contending players the year after. So I do have to say the best team in my opinion is probably going to be my guy Mason Haynes, and he's not one of the creators, but I thought he did a great job this draft. Taking Jefferson at the 106 actually wasn't my favorite pick. I would have taken Burrow over him, but he does a really nice job getting quarterback value later on in Kyler Murray. He had a 9th round Tua Tagovailoa, even though he's JJ, who I'm not super high on. He gets Brandon Ayuk at the 7-11. I thought he just got a lot of values throughout the draft. He has a top-loaded team with Jefferson and Lamb. He also has T. Higgins, great value. He has a very good QB1 in Kyler Murray. And he also has QB2 depth, who Tua I think could be a strong QB2. And J.J. McCarthy, who I don't even really love. I think that his upside is undeniable. He also has CMC, who could be a league winner this year. He has Hawkinson, who I also love. So he kind of just took a bunch of values that I love. Did a great job crushing it later with Jordan Mason, Brenton Strange, Durendo as well. Got some rookie picks sprinkled in there. So I think his team is really strong. I like Johnny's team as well. I think 6th round Michael Penix was my favorite value of the entire draft. Got some nice Rashee Rice in there. So his team is strong as well. But I have to go Mason. I think my team is strong. Even though I'm not allowed to vote for myself, I thought Mason crushed the startup draft. Now, if I'm being honest about the worst team, I honestly kind of have to say it has to be Latte. I know I like what he did to start, but I think this many rookie picks, especially if he's not really trying to, make if he is trying to make all these picks, that'll be a mistake. If he's trying to trade all of them, I don't know if he's gonna get the value that he wants because he owns basically the entire market. So it kind of messes everything up with him. And he only has 4 first-round picks. I mean, for reference, I have 1 first this year. I have 2 firsts in 2026. I have 2 firsts in 2027. And I have a ton of players on my roster that I can build around. He has 3 legitimate players. Malik Neighbors, Caleb Williams, Lad McConkey. And this is also a super flex. And if he's looking to get his quarterback of the future in this year's rookie draft, then he's kind of out of luck because he doesn't have a top 2 pick. Cam Ward might sneak in there assuming he goes 1-on-1. So he's not safe in getting Cam Ward. And when you're wasting that, 3rd overall pick on a quarterback when a loaded class could typically get you another skill position he needs a running back. He needs a 3rd wide receiver. It's just a tough situation. So it's going to be interesting how he does it. I think if he manages it very well, this could, have a lot of upside and turn into a really good team. But I don't really love the strategy right off the bat. I think it was a bit overkill in my opinion.
All right, so Steve said, hey, why don't you make a 3-minute video gassing up your team? No, that's not exactly what he said. But he said, why don't I come up here? The draft is now finished and give you guys a 3-minute reaction. Listen, this is the winning team. We have a category that we're talking about, best team other than yourself, whatever. This team, we don't play to lose. I'm wearing a champion hoodie for a reason. We're going to be champions of this league. Starting quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Love Hurts was the team name before the draft. Everybody knew it was coming. I got Hurts, I got Bake Show, and I got Milton, who with Dak's injury history will be back out there before we know it. The running backs that we got on the squad, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, Rashad White, Jalen Warren, Jaleel McLaughlin, Kenneth Gainwell, Tajay Spears, Keaton Mitchell. For a dynasty team, I think that's one of the deeper running back rooms. Seriously, Keaton Mitchell could be the starter in a few years. Tajay Spears will be a starter in a few years. Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren, I'll probably own whoever ends up being the guy there. Jaleel McLaughlin, could he be a pass catcher for Denver next year? Still, absolutely. Same with Rashad White in Tampa Bay. And I got the little stack with him and Bake Show there. Plus, David Montgomery and Jonathan Taylor are about as solid as it gets. The receivers, Nico Collins, A.J. Brown. How did they let me get both of them? How did the league let me get both of those guys? The Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown stack? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Nico's a beast. Cortland Sutton, under underrated. Underrated. Let's see who else we got here. Hollywood Brown, Malachi Corley, Tutu Atwell, Christian Watson, who's out with injury. He'll be back. The tight end room I think it's pretty deep. Dalton Kincaid, Isaiah Likely, and Cade Stover. I think Mark Andrews is up out of Baltimore before we know it. So I really love the pickup that I got there of Likely. I'm real happy with the team. Am I a rebuilder or contender? Contender, pretty easily, right? That team feels contenderish, but it's young. It's young. I am a holder of the 109 and I believe the 302. I may be shipping out the 109 though, to just kind of go full all in the contending window. The best team aside for me, in my opinion, is Kamario Rice Cart. The guys got Daniels, Kyron, Jacobs, DJ Moore, Pittman, Rashi Rice, McBride, Ken Walker, Kamara. I think there's some teams in this league that are really, really weak at running back, and others that are pretty strong. I think Kamario Rice Cart falls into the strong as well as myself. Pick a worse team. Steve, I mean, you're asking me to put somebody on blast here, man. I mean, Steve, like your running backs, the only ones that you got are Dobbins and Tucker. I know you got 4 rookie picks, so like it won't be starting them, but even with that, Team Latte, Blake Corum and Kendre Miller, but Team Latte, this guy went all rookie. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rookie picks. So he'll be drafting. But yeah, my team, best team, aside from me, Kamario Rice Cart, C in the chip. Second place would be good for you, buddy.
What's up, guys? My name is Joe. I'm one of the FTR creators in the Dynasty Trading League, and I'm super excited to take you guys through my team after the startup draft, as well as what I plan to do in the rookie draft as we get into that. So, first off, going through my quarterbacks, I have CJ Stroud and Bo Nix, obviously starting 2 because it is a super flex league. I got 2 young quarterbacks whose job security is pretty safe in my opinion. They're both pretty dynamic. Bo Nix, probably a bit more prolific as a rusher, but again, they're both 25 or younger. I was able to draft Bo Nix in the second and trade for CJ Stroud, who was also drafted in the same round later on with some picks in the later rounds of the draft. So after drafting Nix and trading for Stroud, I think my quarterback position is pretty secure at the moment. My strongest position, in my opinion, are my wide receivers. Starting, I have Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jerry Jeudy, and Xavier Worthy. Every single one of those 4 is 25 or younger. Jamar Chase, obviously, pretty much the best receiver in the league right now. He's going to be amazing with Joe Burrow for years to come after the contract extension. Jackson Smith and Jigba did break out this past year, only 23 years old, and is getting to work with Sam Darnold, who had a really strong year last year. I think he's going to be pretty much just as good as he was last year, and hopefully finish around the top 10 in fantasy wide receivers again. Jerry Jeudy doesn't have the best situation, but he is the wide receiver 1 for the Cleveland Browns at the moment. He just came off a ridiculous productive breakout season where he was elite in the middle part of the season with Jameis Winston under center. Hopefully he's found his home in Cleveland. And Xavier Worthy, obviously Chiefs rookie first round pick last year. He started to play really well down the back half of the season. His consistency was impressive, and I think he's going to be a big part of their game plan going forward. At running back, one of my weaker positions, I think I have Chuba Hubbard and DeAndre Swift with Tank Bigsby in the flex as well. I'm a big fan of Chuba Hubbard. I think he's going to continue to be a large part of this offense, even with Rico Dowdle being the RB2. I think his fantasy finish is going to be pretty similar to what it was last year. And if that's the case, he will have been a home run pick where I got him. I'm not the biggest DeAndre Swift fan in the world, but I was able to select him late. I wouldn't be surprised if he's replaced during the NFL draft, but I'm hoping he can provide at least a little bit of value for where I got him late in the startup draft. And then Tank Bigsby, I'm not sure what his position on the team will be next year, but I know he is a pretty productive running back. He was extremely efficient in 2024. He won the starting job over Travis Etienne, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a 1A, 1B role in 2025. I'm also starting Bengals tight end Mike Gesicki. He had a really solid year last year and was rewarded with a 3-year extension. He'll be their starting tight end over the next few years and has really grown into a solid receiving option for Joe Burrow in this Bengals offense. And that gives me 2 Bengals receivers to work with, one being a tight end obviously, but that will help because they are one of the most prolific offenses in the entire league. Then on my bench for my backup quarterbacks, the most notable are Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. I kind of locked up both to see whoever wins the starting job in New York, I will have their starting quarterback, just to have a guy on the bench that I can sub in when needed. As far as running backs on my bench go, I have Kamani Vidal, Tyler Algier, and Antonio Gibson. Then a wide receiver, Diami Brown, Joshua Palmer, Marvin Mims Jr., and Alec Pierce round out a solid young group of wide receivers, a couple of whom just signed contracts with new teams, hoping to carve out bigger roles for those teams. But I think it's a really strong group of wide receivers, even on the bench. Now my backup tight end is Theo Johnson for the New York Giants. Hopefully he can earn a bigger role this year as the full-time starter. My picks in this year's rookie draft are the 107 and the 305. Hopefully at the 107, I'll be able to draft a quality running back, maybe a guy like Caleb Johnson, or if Tyler Warren is available, he will definitely be on my radar because tight end is a position that maybe I could upgrade at as well. Then at the 305, I will be grabbing depth likely at running back. So I'm not locking in any selection yet until the actual NFL draft has taken place. Then I think the best team in the league is either Mason Hayes, who has Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and T. Higgins for a ridiculous offensive core, or Dylan, who I think is also in contention for that title, with Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown, and Nico Collins. Both teams have some really strong skill position players, but Dylan does have the upper hand in quarterback. Unfortunately, I think the worst team might be Lot FC. He spent a ton of startup draft selections on rookie picks. Like most of his players this year are going to be rookies. And while that's not a terrible strategy, the rookie draft is full of hits and misses. And if a lot of those guys are misses, he could have trouble contending for years to come. Really excited to get this league going. I think it's going to be awesome.
My name is Drew of NFL Trading Room. And here we are today, finally out of the FTR Dynasty Trading Room Dynasty Fantasy League Startup Draft. We drafted for about a week, maybe a little bit over that. We're finally out of it now. And my general strategy going into this draft was that I really kind of wanted to. I wasn't really going in with I want to be a rebuild guy. I want to be a contender. I didn't really want to put myself in a box like that going into the draft. I really just wanted to get talent over fit. Really is one of my main kind of philosophies when it comes to Dynasty. And I wanted to get young at every position. I didn't want to really end up with a team full of veterans and need to really address things in rookie drafts as the years go on. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. I'm feeling pretty strong where we leave. QB1 ended up going with the first round pick with Drake May. I'm a huge Drake May guy. Still, this is the highest prospect I've ever graded in my draft grading process. I have a lot of faith in him. I have a lot of faith in New England to put the right pieces around him. He's going to be, he's productive with a abysmal support staff around him. Last year, I think he's only continued to climb, be more productive as one of the best quarterbacks in Dynasty. We leave with Saquon and James Cook as our running backs. I think I'd like to be a little bit younger at that position, but those are still two very, very productive players. Obviously, Saquon was historically productive last year, and that's something we continue to add, depth in this rookie draft, especially with how deep this running back class is this year. And James Cook, I don't know how long his future is in Buffalo. But wherever he lands, he's going to be the RB1, I would imagine. We'll leave at receiver with Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle, and Calvin Ridley. Puka Nacua, I think is, obviously everybody knows how outstanding he is. He's going to be the number one guy, like a lot more now that Cooper Kupp is gone. He's going to get force-fed a lot more production. Very good with the ball in his hands. He's going to be the focal point of that offense for years to come. So he's a lock. Jalen Waddle, I think with the departure of Tyreek Hill that's kind of expected from Miami, I think he's going to pick up a lot more production and be a very, very productive player for them. I think he's got a high ceiling. I'm excited to pick him up in Dynasty, even after having a down year last year. Ridley, I think, is somebody that's going to benefit from Cam Ward being in Tennessee. So I'm going to take a flyer on him, but that's probably a position that I want to address pretty early on at some point and get another younger, kind of more reliable option at wide receiver 3. Tight ends, my tight end one is Ben Sinnott. I got Chikakonkwo from Tennessee as well for some depth. But really, I didn't prioritize tight end a lot in this draft class or in the startup draft, I should say, because I ended up with the 105 for my first rookie pick. And there, I kind of imagine I want to target Colston Loveland. I'm a huge Colston Loveland guy. I think he can solve that tight end issue for me. And if Cam Ward were to slip there, in a startup super flex league like this, I think that's something I probably couldn't pass up. But the reason I was kind of off on tight end in this startup draft is because I imagine that Colston Loveland is going to be my guy for the future. For some depth options, we picked up Brian Robinson out of Washington as the running back to get some depth at the position. We got Jaden Reed and Rashid Shaheed at receiver. Rashid Shaheed was super productive. Was probably going to be with how spotty Chris Olave's health has been. He's a very kind of the main focal point of that receiving game in New Orleans, except for the freak knee injury last year. Jaden Reed, obviously the number one guy in Green Bay as of now, unless they draft someone new. But yeah, overall, I'm feeling pretty strong about where the team is at. I got also, I didn't talk about my second super flex quarterback. Got Sam Darnold. Obviously need to upgrade and get younger at that position at some point, but I think in Seattle, he's got a good support staff around him. Going to be productive for at least the 1 to 2 years he's there, while I have time to get a new quarterback wherever I draft with this year or next year as my replacement for my second Superflex QB. But yeah, overall, feeling pretty strong. I'd say I'm kind of in the middle. I wouldn't call myself a contender, but I also don't think I think I've got a couple of good enough pieces to not necessarily be a rebuild either. I feel like I came away from the draft pretty young. I'm feeling pretty strong with where the team is at age-wise. And I think we continue to stack. We got about 4 or 5 picks, I believe, in the rookie draft. I mentioned I have the 105. I've got the 204 and then a couple of picks in the 3rd and 4th rounds. So we've got some shots to take some flyers on some rookies. I think there's some really interesting, especially running backs in this class. that I'm excited to take a shot on. And I think the bones of this team are really, really good, and I have a solid foundation to build off of. I'm really excited to be in this league. We have a lot of really, really smart guys in this league. Finally have a dedicated group to do a dynasty league with. That's always the problem when you play dynasty, right? Is you get 1 to 2 years in and everybody kind of fizzles out and quits. We got a lot of dedicated guys in here who love fantasy football. So I'm super excited to get in here, have a really just bare knuckle bar fight of guys that really care and know a lot about dynasty fantasy football. And I'm super excited to see who the best man is. Who comes out on top. But like I said, I think I got a good solid foundation to compete with these guys. We're gonna continue to add some talent in rookie drafts. As a draft evaluator first, myself, I love the opportunity to add these guys that I watch all that film on in draft season, to add those guys in rookie drafts. And yeah, I think we're feeling pretty solid with where we're starting out coming out of that startup draft, and I am super excited to get into this league.
All right, so Pat, Chase Brown, I'm going to have Ashton Genty, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. I think my team is great. I really don't have any problems too much with my team. I didn't really take any picks. Jordan Addison, Estime. I think one of the better teams in the league. Where is he at? I think it's Mason. Yeah, because he has McCaffrey, but he also has Garindo if he get hurt. I want to say he has. Does he have any other picks? He has a 201 for, and it's a 4s. And he has CD, Jefferson, Higgins, Hawk, Ayuk. He needs somebody to replace him, but he has Debo down here, so that works. And he is Strange. So I like his team a good bit. If I had to pick the best, I think the worst team right now, just because we haven't drafted, is it Sammy? No, I think it's Latte. Yeah, because he really didn't have anybody. He does have neighbors in McConkey though. That's good. Komet just got overtaken today or yesterday. Like Caleb, Blake Corum, we don't know. But he has a whole bunch of picks. As you see, 103, 112, 16, 111. So 4. Bunch of seconds. I don't really like that, to be honest with you, because as we see in the draft today or these past days, they're too unpredictable. So I think he's going to struggle even with all those picks, and he can't. I don't even think he can carry all of those players on his team anyway. So it's going to be a struggle for him.
That's going to wrap up the first episode. We just had the startup draft, and it was so much fun. Again, this was before the NFL draft. So the next video you guys are going to be seeing is our rookie draft, which is obviously going to be after we see what went down in the NFL draft. That's going to be a ton of fun. But if you guys did enjoy this one especially, drop a like and comment. Like, if you want to keep seeing more of this series, I think this is going to help you guys a ton for your dynasty leagues, because you see what's actually going on, not just some keep, trade, cut, marketplace value rankings. Like, this is legitimate, dynasty content. And also, I had a ton making it. So if you do want to support us, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.